boys and girls, today we're going to make this adorable puppet. I'm sure you have read the book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So we have this a puppet that goes exactly with this book and all the other Lord Numeroff books that have the mouse in it. He's adorable. Come on down to the library and get your packet. You have tuned in to the Crafty Corner, and I'm Miss Lisa to show you how this is going to be made today. When you come to the library, you're going to get a packet with a lot of different things. You're going to have a paper bag. You're going to have some brown, some pink, some blue, which actually is his bib overalls, so don't use that for anything else. In your packet, you're going to have some little buttons, you're going to have some string and some little pink noses, and you're going to have some wiggly eyes, so be careful because there's a lot of little things in this packet this time. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is cut out his little bib overalls. So you're going to want to cut right on that black line, if not a little bit on the inside, because you know, bib overalls don't have a black line on them, so you're not going to want that to show. If cutting is not the thing that you do well, have an adult to help you, boys and girls, because this is the main focus point of our little mouse, is his clothes. All right, up here you want to cut this part out. So wherever those black lines are, that's where you cut. So just be careful because you don't get a second little template of the bib overall. Okay, and if you did have some of the blue showing, you can always turn it over because then you're not going to see it. All right, now be careful with this that you don't glue it on the flap. You still want to be able to use that as your puppet, so this is going to be glued up underneath. Now, you can tell, I hope you can tell by looking at this, that it's too long. So I'm going to go up here and trim about 1 inch off of those bib overalls. And this should fit exactly right here. And if it doesn't go all the way to the top, that's okay. All right, so we're going to turn it over. Whatever side's going to be the glued side, since you're gluing something fairly large, it's good to go ahead and use this because otherwise you'll be using a lot of glue stick. And boys and girls, see what I'm doing? I am just moving that glue back and forth. I call this scribbling glue. You don't need big globs of it anywhere. You just want to scribble it all over. Okay, then you're going to want to lay that right down on that paper bag. Slide it down toward the bottom and then press. And press those overalls. Okay. Now, if you can tell in the picture here, he has a little pocket. Now we actually have a little pocket that you can put on there. If you have that blue paper, you can either just draw it in or you could actually take some of this paper. Let's see, and we can just cut like a half circle. Let's see how well I can make a half circle without drawing it out. That's pretty good. So you can glue that on there. Now, to make it look like a pocket, you're going to want to take your Sharpie or some kind of a black and do the little stitching on it. So to do the stitching, you just make these little marks with your marker and just go all the way around the outside edge like someone has sewed it on. That's pretty cute. All right, so we're going to glue that little pocket here. Now you can just glue it all the way down, or if you want it to actually work as a pocket, don't glue the top. So what we're going to do today is just glue, make a nice thin line, just glue that outside edge. And then when you glue it down, you can actually sort of squeeze it in a little bit so that you can actually put something in his pocket. If you want to write him a little note, or maybe you have a little tiny half-used pencil, it could stick right down in there. Now, in the packet of stuff that we have given you, I have used our little Cricut at work to cut out little buttons for you. So you're going to take your glue, just very carefully glue that outside edge and glue those little buttons on. So they look like little buttons holding his overalls together. So that part is pretty well done. All right, his face is pretty simple. We just have the little eyeballs And then you have in your packet some yarn and a puff ball for his little nose. Now you're going to get a big piece of yarn, and you're just going to want to measure however long you want his whiskers to be. So I'm just going to trim that there, and then I'm going to remeasure so that it's about the same size. And remeasure, there we go. And then you're going to use your big dots of glue. So I'm going to do a dot there, and glue his eyeball. Glue another dot, put his eyeball on. I like the wiggly eyeballs. Now, here you're going to need a pretty big dot of glue, and here's why. You're going to want to put those whiskers in the middle, okay, so that they all stay on. And then even a little bit more glue on top of that for your little puff ball. Now, I suggest you don't play with it for a while once you have the face done like this, because it will slide off. All right, so we're going to let that sit for just a minute. Okay, now here's the tricky part, the arms and the ears. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut, it's about 4 inches, I think, of paper. And I'm going to just cut another 4 inches of paper or so. It would lay it right on top of each other. Now, I think instead of just freehanding this, I am going to try to draw it with a pencil first. So you do want a point of his ear, and you want to come down to the edge, and you want a point. So I'm going to make a point here, and then I'm just going to sort of come on back down. And I think that looks pretty good, especially once I cut it out. So I'm going to cut this out and staying right on my line, and I'm taking my point, and I'm going to sort of come in just a little and come back out, almost like a teardrop point. So obviously it's too wide. All right, so I'm going to lay them back on top of each other, and I think I can come down this side here and trim off a bunch of, and let's see, probably still too wide. This part, maybe you need to measure that part first. All right, let's come up here. Let's see how we do. Oh, I think that's so much better. All right, now we're going to add the pink. So let me go ahead and measure. So I'm going to take this pink, and I want it to be smaller than the ear. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces again, so it's just exactly the same size. And you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to lay the ear on top and trim it so that I get almost a pink ear. And once I have that shape, you know what I can do now? It's just come in with my scissors about 1 centimeter on both sides of the ear, flip it over, and do the same on this side. And I should have about the perfect inside. It's a little tall. I can just slide it down. Have the perfect inside of my ear. Okay, let me move this here where I can see it. All right, little mouse, let's move out of the way. All right, so that looks really good. It's a little long, so that looks really good. All right, so I'm going to take my glue again. I'm going to scribble on the back. Glue stick would work too. Just don't put too much or you're going to have it oozing out all over the place. You don't want glue oozing out on his ear. All right, let's turn this one over. Just a little scribbling on there. There we go. I'm going to trim off this bottom extra that I don't need. And then the ears go behind the head. Okay, don't put them here on top. Stick them back behind. So in order to make that work, I'm just going to slide my mouse and I'm going to put the glue on both of the ears here. And without even picking him up, because we're trying to set that nose right now, I'm just going to slide that in. And you can sort of make them go a little wonky or off to the side or however you want. Let's see, like this maybe. Maybe it doesn't need to be quite so tall. You decide how that ear gets on there. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty cute. All right, now he needs his arms, and he needs to hold a cookie, doesn't he? Because if you give a mouse a cookie, do you know what comes next? If you give a mouse a cookie, then he's going to want some milk, right? All right, and then if he wants some milk, he's going to need a straw. And if he gets a straw, he's going to make a little bit of a mess. He's going to need a napkin. So those are the first couple pages in If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So I am making a chocolate chip cookie. So what I just did was make a circle, and I was pretty good at freehanding it, but if you need to lay a glass down and trace it, that would work. Now, to make the chocolate chip little pieces, take some of the brown that we just used maybe for that ear and just cut a few little chunks. Chocolate chunk cookies. Oh, aren't they the best? Oh, yummy. All right, so I've got some chunks. I'm going to take my glue, just put a couple little dots all over my cookie, and I'm just going to pick up my chunks and stick them down in those dots. Looks like I need one more little chunk of chocolate. All right. Yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, so there's my chocolate chunk cookie, but he needs a hand to hold it. So what we're going to do is take the brown that's left over, and you're going to go in about an inch, and go ahead and make it extra long. That way you can always trim it off later. Okay, if we try to make it the exact size and then it comes out wrong, then we have a problem. Okay, now we need his little hand at the end, and to do that, we're not going to make all the little fingers. We're going to sort of like make it that he's got a mitten hand. So with your pencil here, I would just draw an arch, and then come make a thumb. Okay, and so then we're just going to trim this back up a little bit, and I'm going to come in here where I drew that little thumb, and then I'm going to come up and around and come back down because his arm doesn't need to be near that fat. Now we're going to put the two arms up underneath. Watch out, buddy, I need you to move. We're going to put those arms up underneath. You can have his hand going down or hand going up. You could make his hands going up like he is in the picture, okay? You can have one going up and one going down. You decide how you want your little puppet to be, okay? So maybe we should have him going up this time instead of down. And then the cookie goes in one of his hands. All right, so, and we're going to do the same technique that we did for the ears. So we're going to remove that from behind and make sure you're going to be gluing it behind your paper sack. Go ahead and put some glue on both of those hands. And then you're just going to slide it down underneath wherever you want it to go and press. Slide it and press. He's adorable. Okay, and then the cookie goes in one hand. Put a little glue on that paw there. There's our chocolate chip cookie, and I'm not sure, I hope his nose is well set. And then you can pick him up and play with him. All right, yep, look, he can even take that cookie right to his mouth. All right, boys and girls, come on back to the library, come on down and grab your packet so you can make this beautiful little mouse puppet that goes with the book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Miss Lisa for the Fayette County Public Library. This has been the Crafty Corner. Join me again next week for another craft. Bye now.